Today we're going to talk about the Bantam Small and the Bantam Extra Small, and we're going to talk about some updated features that we've made to Bantam Small or Extra Small that include either the hydraulic pump or the power-up option. So if you have one of those two, then the way that the supine system works will be addressed in this video. Now, as a review, we're just going to look at the three different modes that we can put according to the controller. So the typical one is sit to stand, and we just move this controller by lifting up. So if the unit's in sit to stand, by pushing the hydraulic pump, we go from sitting all the way up to standing. And if we have a power-up option, then you just push the hand pendant and it does the same thing. So it goes from sitting up to standing and back down again. So that's sit to stand mode. Now, in the middle, we have the neutral mode. Now, if I set this in neutral, basically what I've done is I've released two different locks on the system and the unit is unlocked. So now I can recline the back and it'll move forwards and backwards. Nothing's holding this in place. So I can use this to put the unit into supine for transfer, or if I want to maybe go in an intermediate position because of a knee contracture or leg contracture, I can find the position that's most appropriate. Now when I find that position, I lock it into the supine mode. Once I put it in supine, now this is locked out and it won't move anymore. Now I can still go to standing by pushing the pump handle, and it'll bring me to standing, or reclining the pump handle and it'll bring me back into the supine position, but it's in supine. Now when you're in the neutral position, you don't want to leave somebody unattended in the neutral position because the unit's not locked, so they can move quite freely. So you need to lock it into the supine position, or if you want to go back to sit to stand. Now if you go to sit to stand, it's not locked in until your foot plates come parallel to the floor. So you bring the foot plates down by pushing on the table or having weight in the foot plates, and then you listen for the click. When you hear that click, now it's locked into sit to stand and it's not going to move back and forth. Now let's talk about the new features that we have. So if we've got the unit in the neutral position and we lock it into supine, what will happen on the older versions of the Bantam is once those foot plates do come flat to the floor, the unit will not elevate in sit to stand anymore. Now we've got a Mechlock bypass control on here that allows the unit, either with the power up or the hydraulic pump, to continue up to sit to stand position, and it bypasses the supine lock. The reason it does that is so that we don't put extra stress and wear and tear on the frame. Now when you're reclining from the full upright position back into supine, the way you do that is you just pull back on the pump handle and it'll come back down into supine. But you'll notice it's not coming down in supine, it's coming down in sit to stand. So in order to make that come back down from the supine position on the controller into the supine position, when you're trying to come back down, so you want to maintain full hip extension, full knee extension, you just need to grab onto the back when you're reclining and then just pull on the back a little bit and get it started. Once it's started, it'll maintain its supine positioning, but you have to pull on the back to bring it down in supine. And it's only for the first 10 or 15 degrees. After that, it'll do that anyway. So for example, if I'm in neutral and I lock it into supine and I go back to supine here, again, I have to pull on this back a little bit to get it down in the supine. Once this bracket comes 10 to 15 degrees off a perpendicular, then it'll stay locked in supine. Now I'll show you why that happens with a couple close-ups here. I have the controller set in the supine position. Supine is locked by this Mechlock mechanism here. Now here, this is in the supine position. Now when I change this to the neutral position or the sit to stand position, you'll see that that cable tightens up. Now the Mechlock is unlocked and it'll move and sit to stand. When I change it to supine, the Mechlock is locked and you can see that cable extended, okay? So that's the Mechlock lock. This apparatus here is the supine Mechlock bypass feature. So what happens is when this foot plate comes down, it engages this tab here, and when this tab is pressed in by the frame, it bypasses the Mechlock lock and it loosens it up so that it can move freely and sit to stand. When it's out like this, then it's locked, okay? So right now I have the unit in supine position and the Mechlock is locked. When I put it into sit to stand, this thing recedes. Now when this frame engages that tab and pushes it in, the supine bypass is engaged, okay? And now we're fully up and standing. What that means is that the unit, when you let it down, it could come down and sit to stand. So what I need to do is pull on the back until it disengages. Once it's disengaged, it'll continue in supine. So just to make this point clear, if I put this in supine and I'm all the way fully extended and I try to come back to sit to stand and I push on the handle here and bring it down, it's going to come down and sit to stand. Or if I pull on the handle here, I'm going to go all the way back up, and if I pull on the handle here, it might come down in supine, but if there's weight in the foot plates, it might also come down and sit to stand as well. So in order to ensure that it comes down into supine, you really have to grab the back support here and pull on the back support to make sure that it comes down in supine.